Greetings, Guardians. This is Olympus Alliance. And today we are returning to one of the most exciting factions in Hero Wars right now. Nature and Guardians. What a journey this faction has been having lately. Because when players talk about the strongest factions in the game right now, Eternity always enters the conversation immediately. But Nature has quietly become something absolutely spectacular to watch on the battlefield. Fast attacks, explosive pressure, healing, control, pure damage, scaling, relentless momentum. Nature does not simply try to win fights instantly. Nature overwhelms you. Wave after wave of pressure. Until the enemy line finally collapses under non-stop attacks, poison, healing loops and battlefield control. And that is exactly why this faction has become so fun to watch recently. Because Nature is not just Yasmine and Byrna. No. That is the biggest mistake many players make. Nature is a complete ecosystem. Every hero brings something unique. Every hero contributes something valuable. Every interaction creates another layer of pressure. And once you truly start reading their skills carefully, you begin realizing how beautifully these heroes connect together. So Guardians, today we wanted to share 3 nature-based teams that really caught our attention during testing. Teams that combine nature heroes with heroes from other factions, because at the end of the day, Hero Wars is all about synergy. That is what makes this game beautiful. Different mechanics, different combinations, different ideas. And before we begin, Guardians, if you enjoy these kinds of videos and want us to continue bringing more team guides, testing and faction combinations for the channel, make sure you support Olympus Alliance with a like and subscribe. It truly helps the channel massively and allows us to continue this journey together with all of you. So now, let's jump into these teams. Our first team is Yasmine, Byrna, Alvanor, Maya, and Octavia. And Guardians. This composition is elegant destruction. Because right from the start you already understand what this team wants to do. Pressure, speed, poison, survival, momentum. Yasmine immediately becomes the center offensive threat here. Fast attacks, critical strikes, assassination pressure. She forces panic into enemy backlines almost immediately. But what makes this team so dangerous is everything supporting her around the battlefield. Byrna is absolutely incredible here because she amplifies multiple parts of the composition at the same time. Healing, energy gain, magical critical support, sustain against damage over time. She keeps the engine moving constantly while helping the team survive long enough for the pressure to fully scale. Then comes Alvanor, and Alvanor remains one of the smartest nature supports ever designed. Because he protects the team against basic attacks while continuously stabilizing the battlefield with healing and defensive support. That protection becomes extremely valuable for heroes like Maya and Yasmine, because it gives them more time to fully establish control over the fight. And then Guardians. Maya. This hero has become absolutely terrifying lately. Because Maya no longer feels like just an old sustain mage sitting quietly in the backline. Now, she feels dangerous. Her poison pressure becomes overwhelming in prolonged fights. Her pure damage interactions continue scaling harder and harder while simultaneously healing the team. And inside nature compositions where battles constantly extend through sustain and pressure loops, Maya becomes a nightmare to deal with. And then finally, Octavia. And this is where the team becomes truly frustrating for opponents. Because Octavia adds dodge pressure, reflection mechanics, tempo control, and additional survivability windows. Suddenly enemies are missing attacks, losing momentum, taking reflected punishment. While Yasmine continues hunting targets and Maya slowly poisons the battlefield to death. This team feels smooth, fast, elegant, constantly oppressive. And the longer the battle goes, the stronger the pressure becomes. Now Guardians. Our second team changes direction slightly. Oya, Yasmine, Byrna, Hus, and Somna. And this composition feels much more explosive, much more aggressive, much more direct. Because immediately Oya changes the pace of the fight completely. Her offensive pressure, battlefield aggression and ability to punish opponents aggressively creates enormous openings for Yasmine to start snowballing kills quickly. And once Yasmine begins rolling forward inside fights, things become extremely dangerous very fast. But again, the supports behind them are what truly make this composition shine. Byrna continues being one of the best nature supports in the game because she keeps accelerating the battlefield constantly. Energy generation becomes massive here. Healing becomes massive here. Sustain against continuous pressure becomes massive here. And then we bring Hus and Guardians. Hus feels absolutely amazing in long nature battles, because his healing output creates unbelievable stability for aggressive frontline heroes. Burst damage becomes much harder to finish. Damage over time pressure becomes far less effective. And this allows Yasmine and Oya to continue attacking without losing momentum. Then comes Somna. And Somna completely transforms the battlefield rhythm. Control, disruption, sleep mechanics, pressure interruption. Enemies struggle to establish stable offensive cycles because Somna constantly interferes with momentum while the rest of the team keeps scaling pressure higher and higher. And this is what makes nature so exciting right now. The faction combines aggression, speed, healing, control, pressure, and scaling together beautifully. This team does not simply rush blindly into battle. It suffocates opponents through non-stop tempo pressure. And once the enemy begins losing rhythm, Yasmine usually finishes the job very quickly. Now Guardians. Our third team is one of the classic long fight monsters. Mushy, Alvanor, Byrna, Mojo, and Somna. And this composition is absolutely incredible in extended battles. Because once this team begins scaling, it becomes extremely difficult to stop. Mushy immediately becomes the center of the composition. And Guardians. Mushy remains one of the most unique tanks in the entire game because she is not built around simple raw durability. She scales. She grows. She multiplies pressure. The longer the fight continues, the more dangerous Mushy becomes. And beside her, Alvanor once again becomes absolutely critical. Because Alvanor healing incomplete shrooms accelerates Mushy's scaling enormously. He gives her more time to spread pressure, more time to stabilize, and more time for the battlefield to become completely flooded with nature pressure. Then Byrna enters once again with energy acceleration, magic penetration, healing support, and sustain. And suddenly the whole composition begins snowballing much faster. Then comes Mojo and Guardians. Mojo inside prolonged nature fights becomes terrifying. Continuous magic damage. Pressure scaling. Punishment against grouped enemies. And combined beside Mushy's long fight scaling. The battlefield slowly becomes impossible to survive. Then finally, Somna once again controls the rhythm of the battle beautifully. Sleep. Disruption. Pressure control. Enemies constantly lose offensive timing while Mushy, Mojo and Byrna continue amplifying pressure second after second after second. This team is not explosive immediately. It is worse than that. It slowly destroys you until the enemy team completely falls apart. And Guardians. This is exactly why nature has become so exciting lately. Because the faction has everything. Fast attacks. Explosions. Pressure. Scaling. Healing. Control. Long fights. Short fights. And when we add relics into the equation, things become even crazier. Yasmine relics. Byrna relics. Maya relics. Especially Maya. Because Maya now feels absolutely terrifying with her poison pressure, healing and pure damage interactions all scaling together inside long battles. Nature keeps evolving. And that is why this faction has become so fun to watch recently. Because once you truly study the skills carefully, you realize every single hero brings something valuable into the battlefield. And Guardians. These are only 3 teams. 3. We could easily show many more because nature currently has an enormous amount of possibilities and combinations waiting to be explored. And now we want your ideas too. Drop your own top 3 nature-based teams below in the comments. Nature heroes mixed with other factions too, that is completely fine because synergy is what matters most in hero wars. We will test your teams. And the combinations that truly stand out may appear in future episodes here on Olympus Alliance. Because this community is built exactly around that idea. Every player brings something valuable. Every player sees different combinations. Every player discovers something new. And that is what makes this game so enjoyable because of all of you. So Guardians, have an amazing Sunday. Enjoy time with your families. Because many people unfortunately cannot do that today. Take care of yourselves. Stay tuned, stay sharp. And as always, salute and friendship.